Hello, this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss in internet shitlords. And I had just finished recording a video, which I guess I'll have to wait for a few days from now, because I have gotten the news that Jeremy Crawford has now joined Perkins in quitting Wizards of the Coast. Or, well, we think quitting. This shouldn't be a very long video, but in any case, over here you can see we've got Star Adventurer, which is a fantastic space opera RPG that you can get for just $9.99 in print, less in PDF. And an oldie but a goodie, platinum bestseller, Dark Albion, The Rose War, my medieval authentic 15th century English War of the Roses setting. And there in the middle, the Gonzo Fantasy Companion. It's been selling quite good lately. And you guys should really check it out if you want all kinds of really interesting generators and rules for you to add unusual elements to your fantasy play. Also, be sure to check out the Pundit Files, available only at the Red Room. The current issue is about making your magic items more interesting by giving them actual histories. It's the Legendary Magic Item Generator, which allows you to have it's not a collection of magic items, it's a collection of contexts in which you can modify magic items to fit particular backgrounds of where they came from. And you know, a magic item coming from something is going to make it a lot more interesting than one that seems generic, like it was bought at a Walmart or something. So be sure to check all those out. Anyways, on to the topic at hand. We have, basically Crawford and Perkin were the last ones that were from, the last kind of known quantities that were around at the time of the 2014 5th edition being created, that were still working at Wizards of the Coast. And so, we heard that Perkins was out, retired, it said, a little while ago, and now today it's come out that Jeremy Crawford is also leaving. And what does this actually say? First of all, it is shocking to imagine, right? Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons, the current most experienced person there, as far as we can tell, is Jason Tondro, right? Who is a guy you probably would not be too sure you could trust, to fill in monster entries or something. Like, it's not. And this is their last great creative figure there. They've also pointed out some of the other people that are still around, which are all the diversity hires that made all of the worst selling products in 5th edition's history. Right, people like Justice Armin, who are, if they're still around, are only going to make things worse, right? And there's this notion, like I forget her name now, but the new director of D&D has tried to paint it as, oh no, this is all part of the plan. We've got this long-term plan for D&D. No, I don't think they do. I think the VTT collapsed. The book sales of the current 5.5 edition were horrifically bad. And there's only as far as I can see, I think there's only two real possibilities for these two guys leaving at once. The first would be that the situation has become so clearly bad and D&D is so screwed there that they were basically like rats leaving the sinking ship, right? Like they decided now is the moment to get the hell out, because this is associating with this end phase of what's happened is going to destroy our careers even more, right? Like, and it has to have been there has to have been like a monumental pressure for them to get out, because for within themselves, I mean, because these are guys that are career corporate men, right? They're not the kind of talent that can now go off, and they're not Jonathan Tweet or something like that, right? They're not going to go off now and make award-winning RPGs on their own, So I think that they're trying to get out to I mean, maybe they are legitimately, but Perkins maybe is legitimately retiring. I don't know. Crawford is probably going to I don't know what he's going to try, because I don't know I don't know how particularly smart he is, right? He might try to go out on his own and do something horrible, or he more likely, because I don't think he's got the character for that. So more likely he's probably trying to shop himself out to anyone else who will take him, right? Which is a really bad time to be doing it too, because all these guys are kind of getting, the bigger RPG companies are being screwed, or gaming companies are being screwed over because of the tariffs on China. So not a great scenario. The other scenario is that, in fact, Wizards told him, look, you guys should probably retire right now, because otherwise we're going to fire you anyways, because we have no idea what we're doing anymore, and we're probably not going to be carrying on. Hey, look, it's Domino. We're not going to be carrying on. Thank you for showing everyone your butt, Domino. we're not going to be carrying on with what we're doing, or we have no real plan, and it's all a gigantic mess. That's the long and the short of it. So I think that this is a real sign, right? That there is an unbelievably bad situation, and that I don't think WotC has any idea what to do about it, right? Like, there are many things they could potentially end up doing about it. They could shutter D&D for 10 years. They could farm it out to some other company, right? They could potentially try to hire people with actual talent and like rebuild the whole thing, right? Like, forget the 5.5 edition. It's a failure. And before that turns into a massive money pit for us, let's instead get really good people to make a good new edition and bring back the actual gamers, the stuff that actual gamers want, right? But that would require things that I don't think they have in them. They'd have to get rid of all the DEI nonsense. They'd have to get rid of all the, powerful black women in 75% of the D&D art. They'd have to make adventures about actually being heroic, instead of like, you're a barista at the local Magic College's coffee shop, and I don't think they have any of that in them. I don't think so the most likely thing that they're going to do, other than maybe try to shutter it or sell it off, will be to in fact continue throwing money into the money pit with a greatly reduced budget, a greatly reduced staff, a staff full of people that are incompetent, that will only keep failing more and more and more. So like, I think if they weren't told, look, you should just leave, I think that the fact that they both left at the same time is a desperate attempt to salvage their reputation before it gets too bad, right? If they leave now, they can say, well, the edition wasn't bad, but there were bad things going on at Wizards, and and everything they've done after us, that's not our fault, and it'll probably be worse, right? So, in fact, that might be what happened. They might have been told, yeah, we're going to double down, we're going to quadruple down on everything we're doing, and even they, however bought into the kind of agenda that they are, will realize that after this, it'll just ruin them, right? So they're better off jumping ship now and trying to find some other safe port of call. And I think that is basically what has happened here. We are going to find out more probably in a little while. Again, probably the worst thing that you could possibly hear is like, we're keeping all of the other current people, Jason Tondra and Mackenzie DeArmas and Justice Armin. And they are going to be our new creative geniuses who are going to make books that everyone's going to want. And then maybe they'll announce 50 new D&D books that are all going to be horrifically bad, right? And remember that none of this was the plan. The plan was the VTT. And I said a while back ago, right, when I was talking about the problems with the VTT, I had said, look, their plan right now is to not make large numbers of physical books again. I didn't say they would never make them again, but that the ones that they did make were going to be kind of like merch more than books, right? They'd be like these fancy deluxe copies, which again, now that's screwed for them because of China, because basically if you're doing anything with a box set or with pieces or special cards or so, that's just going to make it even harder for them. And that almost everything that they were going to do was in the VTT. Their whole goal was to get as many people as they could into the VTT, and that's gone now, right? So whatever they make now is going to be stuff of their own devising and based on the people they have left there. That's like, you know, the Three Stooges would do a better job. You know, like there's zero brain trust left now, right? Like both. You know, Perkins was sort of okay, but he was at best mediocre, right? And Crawford isn't even a midwit, and yet they would, you know, in comparison to the people that are left there, right? They look like rocket scientists, right? They look like Tesla guys or something, you know. There's no question that their leaving is a blow to Wizards of the Coast, you know. And if you see that they're going to start announcing a bunch of new books in the next little while, you know it's going to be disastrous, absolutely disastrous, right? Unless you hear that they've brought in some really top name designers that are going to be given a chance to take control, right? But even there, the company corporate culture, the Seattle corporate culture, is not going to really let them do something that isn't going to be infused with a bunch of nonsense. And that is the fundamental problem, really. And there's going to be pressure from certain people, probably executives who don't want to be blamed, to claim, no, we can salvage this new edition, right? This new edition's going to work. It's going to be great, you know. And you saw that before. We saw that with 4th edition. So I think that's more or less what the situation is at. And I couldn't help but have to make a short comment about it, even though it's kind of late here and I'm getting ready to cook supper. So I think that's about it. It's really, you know, Schadenfreude is fun. And I can see that there's dark times ahead for Wizards. And as for, you know, Jeremy Crawford, who knows if we'll ever even hear about him again. But if we do, it'll probably be hilarious in some way or another. So, that's basically it. Currently smoking nothing because I just finished my pipe before cooking. And we'll see you soon, guys.